And happy Wednesday morning, everyone. So good to be with you. Hey, here we are, September 23rd. It's the Day of Atonement. It's the last day appointed for the Shemitah. American stock market was actually up yesterday. Nothing of the dire predictions made by Jonathan Cahn, Mark Blitz, John Hagee, that entire crowd, nothing has happened. Well, we are told, doesn't really matter. What really matters is the Pope has come to America. And the Pope is going to meet at the UN. He's going to propose a one world government. He's going to propose population control, supposedly. It's the end. Again, we are told. Now, the question is, where in the Bible does it have anything whatsoever to say about the Roman Catholic Church? Now, I want you to know something. I was raised in the historicist view of Revelation and eschatology. That is to say, I was raised in the amillennial view. Yes, I once believed fervently that the Roman Catholic Church was Babylon of Revelation. I believed that the Pope was the Antichrist. I well remember attending gospel meetings, i.e. revivals, in my youth, in which the minister would put up sheet charts. Some of you may remember those. Very, very graphic, with the Pope and his hat and his staff. And oh my goodness, how graphic those lessons were. One series of lessons, when I was 11 years old, I was sitting on the front pew, and the preacher went through one entire week talking about the Pope and the Catholic Church being Babylon and the Antichrist. I was absolutely, totally convinced. I was fearful. By the way, the minister who gave that lesson is now a full preterist. But the question is the Roman Catholic Church Babylon of Revelation? And the unequivocal answer to that is, after years of researching and after years of study, now years of study doesn't prove the validity of anything. Okay, I understand that. Length of time that a person puts into something doesn't guarantee the truth. But I have changed my views. And here's the reason why. I will expand on this tomorrow. All biblical eschatology is concerned with Israel and her last days. All biblical eschatology has to do with the fulfillment of Old Covenant Israel's Old Covenant promises made in the Old Testament. When Paul talked about the resurrection, when Paul talked about the day of the Lord, when Paul talked about the last days, he said he taught nothing but what was found in Moses, the law, and the prophets, Acts 26, 21 and following. When Peter talked about the last days, the day of the Lord, he said he was drawing from Moses, Samuel, all the prophets, yea, who have ever written, Acts 3, 21 and following. So, the New Testament writers tell us that their eschatology is about the fulfillment of God's Old Covenant promises made to Old Covenant Israel. Unless, therefore, we can demonstrate that the Pope and the Catholic Church is predicted and described in the Old Testament, then we have no leg to stand on. And furthermore, when we come to the book of Revelation, which is supposedly telling us about the Pope and about Babylon, Nothing, listen to me very carefully, nothing that the book of Revelation accuses Babylon of doing and of being, nothing fits the Roman Catholic Church. And I will give but one example today. In Revelation chapter 16 and verse 6, we are told that Babylon of Revelation was the city guilty of killing the prophets. Well, guess what? In the New Testament, when the term prophets or the prophets is used without a contextual qualifier such as 1 Corinthians 12, Ephesians 4, etc., in which the prophets are specifically identified as New Covenant prophets in the church, when the term prophets or the prophets is used, it is invariably a reference to Old Covenant prophets. What does that mean? Babylon killed Old Covenant prophets. There is no contextual qualifier in Revelation 16. Did the Roman Catholic Church ever kill an Old Covenant prophet? No. Period. End of story. End of discussion. The Roman Catholic Church did not come into existence until centuries after the passing of the Old Covenant, centuries after the last of the Old Covenant prophets. Now look, if and since Babylon of Revelation killed Old Covenant prophets, and since Babylon of Revelation, since the Roman Catholic Church did not, and in fact could not, have killed any Old Testament prophets, that means that Babylon of Revelation was not the Roman Catholic Church. That's all there is to it, folks. Look, in my book, Who is This Babylon?, I developed this extensively. I show that Babylon of Revelation cannot be the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope cannot be the Antichrist. It is therefore totally irrelevant about the Pope coming to America, totally irrelevant that he's meeting at the UN, totally irrelevant what he may or may not say. The Pope is not the Antichrist, and neither is President Obama. We are not in the last days. Do yourself a huge favor. Go to my website, get a copy of my book, Who is This Babylon? Mention that you saw the offer on YouTube or Facebook, and I'll refund your shipping. That'll save you almost $5. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings. You see, folks, you don't have to live in fear that we're in the last days. You don't have to live in fear that is being foisted on the Christian world by all of these people pointing to the Pope's visit to America. We are not in the last days. Get the book, check it out for yourself. We'll see you on the flip side.